Okay, let us begin. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Nidanamane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Pascharya Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue with our discussion on the Mahabharat. Last time we saw how the Pandavas have entered into the forest, and after the gambling match, they got cheated of all their wealth and property and kingdom, and they were sent to the forest. And in the forest, they are living a very hard, struggling life. And we saw how Bhima and Draupadi are complaining to Yudhishthira about the difficulties they are facing, how all this calamity happened because Yudhishthira was addicted to playing gambling, although playing the dice game, although he didn't have the skill to play the game. But then Yudhishthira gave them good moral instructions, how everything is ultimately controlled by the Supreme Lord, and how we should always have a forgiving nature, not give up, not become a victim of anger and envy. And he gave the example of how, by just like a farmer, he plants the seeds and he gets the harvest after several months. Similarly, we have to continue doing good activities, avoid doing bad activities, and whatever we do, the reactions, good and bad, will come later. So if we are leading a virtuous, pious life, then we will get the benefit after some time. Definitely we'll get the benefit. And those people, other people who are leading a sinful life, they will get their reactions after some time. So we should not be carried away by what is going through in our life now. So in this way, we should never become victims of anger, because anger will consume and destroy the person. So in this way, Yudhishthira pacified both Draupadi and Bhima. And we also saw how Vyasadeva came there and gave Yudhishthira certain mantras, by which he said, Arjun should go to heaven, and there he will learn much more weapons and skills from Indra and other demigods. So on an auspicious day, Yudhishthira gave those mantras to Arjun, and Arjun started flying towards the north, from where he can go to heaven. After reaching the Himalayan mountains, he met Lord Shiva, who was disguised as a hunter, and there was a fight between Arjun and Shiva. And finally, Arjun pleased Shiva by his fighting, and Shiva gave him the Pashupatastra, very powerful weapon. And after that, Indra's chariot came there. So we also saw that how the demigods like Yamaraj, Kuvera, and who else? Varunadev gave their weapons to Arjun. So after all this event happened, we saw till this point. So at this point, Indra's chariot descends and comes near Arjun, and the chariot driver, whose name was Matali, he invited Arjun to get onto the chariot. This chariot was a huge chariot with 10,000 horses. We don't have that image here because an image with 10,000 horses is not available. No one has the photograph of that. But that was a chariot, huge chariot with all kinds of weapons loaded in it. It was almost like a city. Chariot was almost like a city. And effulgent, brilliant chariot. And Arjun got into it. And immediately it sped off into the heavenly regions. And Arjun begins his travel to the heaven. Arjun's travel begins. And on the way, he sees huge, he sees very beautiful sights. He could see how all the demigods are sporting in various places in the region. He could see various mountain groves and various other gardens where all these Vidyadharas, Charanas, Gandharvas, and demigods would come, and they would have spend their. No, it's like a resort, picnic center for the demigods. And Arjun saw all those, and he was very glad. And finally, after long travel, Arjun reaches the heavenly region, the capital city of Indra. So Indra's capital is known as Amravati. We also have a city Amravati in Maharashtra, but this Amravati is the heavenly capital of Indra. And Indra is the king. We saw last time, right, how Indra's assembly hall itself is huge, several miles long and broad. So just imagine if the assembly hall is like this, how big and beautiful the city must be. How beautiful and huge the heavenly region must be. So there, Arjun enters the heavenly, the capital city Amravati, and he sees huge mansions and palaces and gardens studded with different kinds of jewels and pearls and stones. In this way, Arjun sees, and finally he enters the main area, and there he saw Indra, his father, sitting on the huge throne. On a huge throne, and Indra there invited Arjun, please come and sit next to me. Then Indra patted on his head nicely. He was seeing his son after a long time, and he welcomed him. So simply by the touch of Indra, Arjun felt refreshed and excited about the whole adventure. But Arjun, all the time, in spite of living in this opulence, he was always remembering his brothers and his wife on earth who were staying inside the forest in great difficulty. So on heaven, he received all kinds of treatment, very luxurious treatment, and all kinds of refreshments, and he was enjoying the stay there. He saw all kinds of apsaras. Urvashi was there, and entertainment there, luxurious life, and he was enjoying there. And gradually, Indra taught him all kinds of weapons, how to use them, the mantras, the different powers of each mantra and each weapon. He learned the Gandharva skills and so many other weapons, celestial weapons. And after some time, after learning all those weapons, Indra told his assistant Chitrasen, who is Urvashi. Urvashi is the most beautiful, celebrated Apsara in the heavenly regions. We will discuss about Urvashi a little later. So, yeah, an Apsara. So then Indra said, Arjun, now you should also learn the art of singing and dancing, because this will help you later. So he said, you should go to Chitrasen and he will teach you singing and dancing. So Arjun said, okay. But he was wondering why my father is Indra is asking me to learn singing and dancing. How can it help me later? But anyway, he thought Indra is saying this, so let me follow his instructions. So Arjun went there, and in a short time he learned singing and dancing also. So the total duration of time that he lived in the heavenly planets was 5 years. In these 5 years, he learned everything, and he helped the demigods also in conquering the demons. We will discuss about those activities a little later. What kind of demons Arjun conquered and assisted Indra. So after the whole thing got over, before he was going to return to Earth, Indra thought, this is the Nandana Kanana gardens in the heavenly regions, where all the Apsaras and the heavenly residents enjoy. Very beautiful place. And this is how Arjun learned all the weapons. So one day, Indra said to his secretary, Chitrasen, that I think Arjun is attracted to Urvashi. I saw the other day when the Apsaras were dancing, Arjun was looking at Urvashi. So maybe Arjun is attracted to Urvashi. So why don't you ask Urvashi to approach Arjun and let both of them enjoy nicely? So Chitrasen went to Urvashi and said that this is Indra's order. There is Arjun, the most powerful Kshatriya, who is one of the Pandava brothers, and he is here on the heaven for some time. And it seems that he is attracted to you. So why don't you go and approach him and satisfy his desires? So Urvashi was excited upon hearing this idea. She said, yeah, Arjun, he's one of the most handsome men, very beautiful, very powerful. Definitely I'll go and approach him. So on a specific night, evening, Urvashi goes to Arjun's residence and tells him that your father has sent me here and I have come to enjoy with you. Let us spend some time nicely and enjoy. You are one of the most handsome, powerful young men, and I am the most beautiful Apsara here. Let us enjoy. So Arjun is surprised upon hearing this request. He said, come on, I may have looked at you the other day, but not with the intention to enjoy you. In fact, I don't see you different from my mother Kunti or Shachi Devi, Indra's wife. For me, you are as good as Kunti and Shachi. Shachi is Indra's wife. Then he says, he recalls a pastime. He said, one of my forefathers, whose name was Pururava. Pururava was several hundred years ago, before Arjun, before the Pandavas. He was one of the kings in that dynasty. And Pururava had married Urvashi. Urvashi was a wife of Pururava. So if Pururava was the ancestor of Arjun, then Urvashi is like one of the grandmothers of Arjun. So Arjun said, I am seeing you like that on my motherly level. I cannot see you as my wife or lover. I think that is improper for me to do. So Urvashi said, come on, Arjun, you don't have to worry about all those things. On the heavenly regions, you don't have to worry about these etiquettes, these ethics and morals. Those rules apply on the earth. On the heaven, the heavenly residents are meant to enjoy. They are not bound by these kind of rules. So you don't worry about all those things. Let us enjoy. But Arjun said, no, no. I am sorry, I cannot accept your proposal. And I cannot, I see like my mother Kunti. So when Urvashi heard this, she got really angry. And she said, come on, how can you do this? When a woman approaches you, you are not supposed to refuse. The woman is coming with great desire to enjoy. And it is not proper for the man to refuse. And because you have refused me and given me pain, I curse you. What was a curse? Urvashi cursed Arjun that you will become a eunuch. A eunuch matlab, in Hindi we call hijra. Neither male nor female. You will lose your gender because you have offended me. So in this way, Urvashi cursed Arjun and she went away. So Arjun was bewildered at this turn of events. So he immediately went to Indra and reported to him that this is what happened. Urvashi came to me and I refused her offer and she got angry and she cursed me. What should I do? So Indra was happy. He was delighted upon hearing this whole incident. He said, Arjun, you are one of the greatest yogis, one who has controlled his mind and senses. There are big sages and munis and yogis who cannot control their mind and senses when an apsara like Urvashi approaches them. We hear so many stories like when a sage is practicing tapasya and Indra sends apsaras there, and upon seeing the apsara, the sage loses his mental control. And they sometimes marry, like we saw the story of Vishwamitra Muni and Mandukya Muni. So many other munis are disturbed or agitated by desire when an apsara approaches them. But here is Arjun. In spite of the apsara approaching him, he is refusing her offer. That shows how much control Arjun had over his mind and senses. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramathi balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayorivas pushkaram. The curse was Arjun will become a neuter gender, a chakka, we say in Hindi. He will lose his manhood. That was the curse Urvashi gave Arjun. So in the Gita, Arjun says, I am unable to control my mind. In fact, controlling the wind is easier than controlling the mind. But here in the heavenly planets, Arjun is able to control his mind. Not just control his mind, and he's very peaceful. He's not struggling to control his mind. But in the Gita, he says, I am unable to control his mind. I am unable to control my mind because of emotional turmoil. I am unable to decide what to do, what not to do. That's another story in the Gita. But in this way, Urvashi curses Arjun, and Indra, when he heard this, he was delighted with joy and he congratulated Arjun, saying, you are one of the biggest, greatest yogis, and I bless you. So when Indra heard about the curse, he said, don't worry about the curse. This curse will actually benefit you in the future. In the Vanavas, the 13th year, you have to stay Agyatavas, right? Incognito, in hiding. So when the 13th year of your Vanavas will begin, this curse will come into effect and you will lose your manhood and you will become a hijra. And this curse will last exactly for 1 year. After the 13th year, you will again regain your manhood and you will become a man. So don't worry, this curse is going to help you. So when Arjun heard this assurance, he felt relieved and then he forgot about all the incident, what had happened. So in this way, this is what happens to devotees. We should remember, as devotees of Krishna, nothing will stop us. Even the curse will actually turn into blessings. So we should never feel unhappy or dejected whenever something apparently bad happens to us. We should understand it is Krishna's arrangement. Like the Pandavas also went to forest and they had to go through so many difficulties. Right, Durvasa. We'll see about the story of Durvasa Muni, how he comes there. It becomes a blessing. So many calamities came in Pandava's lives, but they never complained. Because ultimately everything was arranged by Krishna. And whatever Krishna does to us, it is always beneficial and auspicious. Even the calamities that come in our life, that also becomes auspicious. So look at Arjun's case. Urvashi is a very powerful Apsara. She has cursed Arjun, but that curse turns into a big blessing for Arjun and the Pandavas. So we should be able to see how every adversity that comes in our life becomes an opportunity. Every failure is a stepping stone to success. So Arjun didn't cry. He didn't say, "Oh no, my life in the heavenly planet is a waste. I have lost my manhood. What can I do now? My life is a big problem. Let me commit suicide." He didn't say that. So he went to his father Indra, and Indra gave him the blessing. So this is how we should respond. Any calamity that happens in our life, we should just pray to Krishna and pray to him that give me the intelligence to understand how this difficulty can become my opportunity. We should never become dejected and morose. We should see Krishna's plan, Krishna's hand in it. So in this way, Arjun was relieved and he forgot about the whole incident. Now back on earth, what is happening on earth? Here, Dhritarashtra in Hastinapur, Dhritarashtra is lamenting about the conditions that happened in Hastinapur. He's complaining. He's talking to his son, secretary Sanjay, and he's saying, "What will happen after 13 years? The Pandavas are so powerful; they will get all the weapons. I have heard that they are practicing tapasya and they are getting all kinds of training. I have heard that Arjun has gone to the heavenly regions. Now he will be very powerful, and alone he can destroy the entire Kaurava army. What should I do?" In this way, he was lamenting all the time. And Sanjay also advised him. He said, "You are the cause. You could have stopped everything, but you, because of your attachment to the kingdom, all these things happened. Now you have no one else to blame." In this way, Sanjay chastised uh, Dhritarashtra. And back in the forest, what's happening in the forest? After Arjun went to the heaven, Himalayas, the four brothers and Draupadi were somehow staying there in the forest, in the Kamyakavan, and they were spending their days painfully without Arjun. They were missing him deeply. And so after some time, uh, uh, one rishi comes there, one sage comes there. His name is Vrihadashva. Vrihadashva sage comes there. And when the sage comes there to meet the Pandavas welcome him nicely, offer him all kinds of welcome. And the sage says, Vrihadashva says, "Yeah, I came to know about your condition, how you got exiled, lost all your wealth and kingdom, and how you got exiled into the forest." And he narrates the story of another king and queen, the story of Nala Damayanti. This is a big story, long story. We won't discuss this story in detail. Maybe some other time we'll discuss this story. So Nala Damayanti were also very nice. Nala was a very powerful king, and Damayanti was a very nice wife, queen of Nala, and they were living very nicely in the kingdom. And yeah, nice. Some of you may knowing the story, but somehow due to a lot of turn of events, um, how Nala and Damayanti lost their kingdom, lost their wealth, lost their position, and they had to go into the forest. They also lost everything by gambling, by Kali's influence, and they lost everything, and they had to stay in the forest. Not only they had to stay in the forest, Nala and Damayanti got separated from each other. There was a misunderstanding between Nala and Damayanti, and after some time, it got resolved, and they again came together, and many other events happened, and finally they regained the kingdom. So Vrihadashva narrates this story of Nala and Damayanti to Yudhishthir. And he says, your condition is much better than Nala and Damayanti. At least you have your brothers with you, your wife is still with you, and you all are still together. That is a much better condition. In the case of Nala and Damayanti, they got separated. That was a much more painful condition. So don't worry, things will improve very soon. You just have to spend your time here, 13 years, and everything will improve very soon. So in this way, he pacified Yudhishthir. And so Yudhishthir said, Bhima said, no, after 13 years, Shakuni will again invite us for a gambling match, and we will lose again, and we'll again have to go to the forest. So Vrihadashva said, don't worry about the gambling thing. I know all the skill of playing the dice game, and I will teach this skill to Yudhishthir. And once he learns this, no one will be able to defeat him in the dice game. So in this way, the Rishi taught Yudhishthir all the skills of the dice game. And this way, Yudhishthir became an expert. So even if in the future, Shakuni would have called him to play the dice game, Shakuni wouldn't have been able to defeat him. But anyway, that thing never happened. But Yudhishthir learned all the skills. So in this way, the Pandavas, all through their stay in the forest, they were acquiring skills and weapons and knowledge from various sources. They were getting the blessings of so many sages, so many rishis and munis. So they never wasted their time. They never simply complained and lamented. Oh, what can we do now? They were always collecting resources and knowledge. In this way, some days passed. After some time, Narad Muni comes there. And the Pandavas worshipped Narad Muni and welcomed him nicely. And Yudhishthir Maharaj expressed to Narad Muni, my dear sage, I have a desire. I wish to see and travel to various holy places, pilgrimage sites. So please advise me, how should I go? Where should I go? Narada said, yes, that's a good idea. You all, both the brothers and Draupadi, you should all go to various holy places, and in this way accumulate pious credits, piety, which will help you in the future. He said, but be careful. The traveling route, the road to all these holy places is very difficult, and many of these places are infested with Rakshasas. So you should take really care of yourself. And all these Brahmanas cannot visit because there are too many of them. So Yudhishthir said, okay, most of you Brahmanas, we are going on a traveling pilgrimage. So those of you who want to go back to Hastinapur, you are requested to go back. If any of you wants to travel with us, you may join us. But then he warned that the travel is going to be very difficult and we may not get proper food, shelter and water in all these places. So some of them went back to Hastinapur. Some of them, very few of them, joined the Pandavas in their travel. So before they began their travel, another Rishi came there. His name was Lomasa Rishi. So Lomasa Rishi offered that I know all the routes and all the pilgrimage places all over the world. I can guide you to every place. So in this way, uh, Yudhishthir got a nice guide, travel tour operator who could guide them to various places. And Lomasa Rishi also informed one good news to them. He said, I have been traveling all over the universe, and when I was in the heavenly regions, I saw your brother Arjun there. And Arjun has acquired the knowledge of all the celestial weapons. And very soon he is going to come back and rejoin you. So when the Pandavas heard this news about Arjun, they got really happy because they were really wondering how long Arjun is going to take to come back. And if he doesn't come back, then there is no hope for winning the war. So when Lomasa Rishi gave this news, they all became really delighted. In fact, Arjun had told Lomasa Rishi, please convey my news to my brothers, Yudhishthir, because they are eagerly waiting for me. Therefore, in this way, Lomasa Rishi did that seva, service for the Pandavas. Then, Lomasa Rishi began narrating the importance of traveling to various holy places. He said in Satya Yuga, although Satya Yuga was a very nice time, the Asuras, they never performed any sacrifices. So look at this chart. Look at this diagram. How Asuric behavior will ultimately lead to destruction. So even if it is a Satya Yuga or any other Yuga, if we don't behave properly, then we will be destroyed. So Lomasa Rishi describes how in the Satya Yuga there are certain Asuras who refused to perform sacrifices. The first block. But still they became powerful and wealthy. But when they became powerful and wealthy, they started performing evil activities. They developed desire to commit sinful activities. And in this way, they lost all shame. They never cared what is sin and what is piety. They indulged in all kinds of sinful activities shamelessly. Then what happened? Their good behavior and good qualities got destroyed. It disappeared from their character. And then what happened? They lost the quality of forgiveness and morality. And then Lakshmi Ji. Lakshmi Ji means the goddess of fortune. She left her company. She left her company. Then what happened? When Lakshmi Ji went, which means they lost all the wealth, Asuras became extremely angry. So when you are in anger mode, Kali personified, possessed the Asuras. So when Kali possesses someone, when someone is under the influence of Kali, what happens? You become more and more sinful. So in this way, Asuras became even more sinful. And finally, because of the sinful reactions, they were completely ruined. So in this way, Lomasa Rishi describes the Asuric behavior, the progressive Asuric behavior. Similarly, we can draw a diagram of the divine behavior. We don't have it here, but we can guess how the divine behavior will work. So this is a vicious cycle. You have something bad quality, then you do something bad, and that bad will again reinforce your bad quality, and then you do more bad, and then it will reinforce your more bad quality. In this way, the cycle, the chakra will continue, and finally you are completely destroyed. Like in the Gita also, then the second chapter, you have two shlokas. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्तेषु उपजायते संगात् संजायते कामा कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रम स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. This is something similar to asuric behavior, how we uh, come under the influence of lust and anger, and how we lose our memory, how our intelligence is corrupted, and how we finally get destroyed and fall into the material pool. So this is where Loma Sarshi described this asuric behavior. Indirectly, he was saying how the Kauravas are behaving like asuras, and how, because they have become victims of anger and envy and jealousy, they will be destroyed very soon. And he told the Pandavas, you should never fall into that trap. You should continuously perform sacrifices and never become victims of evil propensities, never become victims of anger and lust and envy, and never give up good behavior, never give up sacrifices and charity and tapasya. And in this way, you will never be influenced by negative qualities. So in this way, Lomas Rishi described all these things. And they began their journey to the Himalayas. So the journey was very difficult, traveling through various forests, various rivers, jungles, and mountains. After a long travel, they finally reached the Himalayan regions. And Himalaya, as you know, it's very cold and mountainous region. So Lomas Rishi assured them that once we reach the peak of Himalayan regions, there you will get to see Arjun. Arjun is going to descend from the heavenly regions on top of the Himalaya. That is the landing place. To take off from the earth to go to heaven, you have to go to the upper regions. And when you land on the earth, you land in the Himalayan regions. So Himalayan region is like the gateway to heaven, gateway to the higher planets. So in this way, they decided to travel upwards to the mountain peaks of Himalayas. So they first reached the Alaknanda river. Some of you may have gone to Alaknanda while traveling to Char Dham, Badrinath. So Alaknanda river they took their baths there, very crystal clear, sweet nectarian water, and they got refreshed after their long travel. And they saw the region full of bluish green grass and snow covered regions and crystal clear water, very beautiful birds and animals making their sounds. So in this way, they got energized. And from a distance, they could see the snow-capped mountains, mountain covered with snow. Then they saw another set of mountains, a set of mountains packed together. Yudhishthira asked, what is this? So Lomas Rishi said, actually, this is not mountain. This is actually the bones of an Asura who was killed by Lord Vishnu, Narakasur. Vishnu had killed him, and those bones are now lying here, and they look like mountains, but they are not actually mountains. Huge demon. Long back in another age, in a different age, in a different yuga. Then from there they traveled onward towards the Gandhamadana mountains. And as they were traveling towards this Gandhamadan, the journey became even more difficult. So suddenly there was a huge wind, powerful cold wind, and they didn't know what to do. So everyone hid behind trees and caves, and it took a long time for the wind to subside. And finally, the wind subsided, and all of them came out of the caves, and they saw Draupadi was too exhausted, and she couldn't travel anymore. So Bhima, Nakula, Sahadev, they tried to bring back Draupadi back to consciousness. Finally, after a long time, she came back to consciousness, but she was too exhausted. So they were wondering what to do, how to travel now. So then Bhima gave an idea. He said, my son Ghatotkach, let me call him and he can help us travel. So Bhima meditated on Ghatotkach, and very soon Ghatotkach arrived there. And Bhima requested Ghatotkach, look, we all are exhausted, and especially Draupadi, your mother, is exhausted. Please help us go to Gandhamadana mountain. Please carry us, all of us, there. So Ghatotkach, sure, he said, I'll definitely do this service for you. And immediately he carried Draupadi on his shoulder, and his assistants, the other Rakshasas, carried the 5 Pandavas. And Lomas Rishi, he had his own mystic power. He didn't need any help from others. He traveled by his own mystic power. So they all proceeded towards Gandhamadana mountain. And in this way, they reached the Gandhamadana mountain, which was extremely beautiful. And the more you go higher up the Himalayas, the region becomes more and more beautiful. Then they finally reached the Badrik Ashram also. The Badrik Ashram is the place where Naranarayan Rishi stay. Naranarayan is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, one of the empowered incarnation in the form of 2 sages. In fact, Krishna and Arjun are the original Naranarayan. The same Naranarayan have come in the form of Krishna and Arjun, and they were going to have a mission to establish dharma. So they reached that place. So Yudhishthir requested Ghatotkach and his associates to stay there for some time, and they are going to spend some time there waiting for Arjun's return. So in this way, they all decided to stay there, eagerly waiting for Arjun. This is the place where Badrik Ashram they reached. Then what happens? Now an interesting incident happens. They are staying there nicely. One day, when Draupadi was, this image is not exactly correct. It's actually the place of Badrik Ashram, Naranarayan Rishi. Badri Vishal's photo has to be there here. So one day when Draupadi was enjoying her time in the nice gardens and forests there, in the nice rivers and lakes, she saw a very beautiful golden lotus flower, 1,000-petaled lotus flower. And she was wondering, kahan se aaye? Where did it come from? And she thought, let me offer this as a gift to Yudhishthir. So, but only one flower. She wanted many flowers. So she went to Bhima and he said, look, I have got this flower and I would like to get more of these flowers. Can you please help me get these flowers? So Bhima said, okay. So Bhima started going upstream. He saw the direction from where the flower came. So he thought, let me go up and I'll soon find. So he traveled upwards, climbing various rocks and mountains through the snow-capped mountain regions. He crossed rivers and he saw many animals. And Bhima was roaring and shouting while traveling. So all these animals, huge elephants and other wild animals, they got scared upon hearing Bhima's loud sounds, loud shrieks. And Bhima would run through the jungles, searching for the 1,000-petal lotus flower. And this way kept on traveling, but he couldn't find where it is coming from. So he fought with animals. He would pick up elephants and throw them when they would attack him. After a long time, he still couldn't find. Then he saw one monkey. He saw one monkey lying on the road. Huge monkey. So he thought, who is this monkey? So he spoke to the monkey. Oh, monkey, please get away. I want to go ahead. I have to search for this golden petaled lotus flower. If you can help me, please direct me there. And please don't block my way. Otherwise, I will kill you. This monkey looked at Bhima and he said, look, I'm a very old monkey and I don't have the strength to move aside. Why don't you just move my tail on one direction, then you go ahead. Why are you making so much noise? So Bhima said, okay. So he tried to pull the tail. And to his surprise, he was unable to pull. The same Bhima who was able to lift elephants and kill huge Rakshasas is unable to lift the tail of an ordinary monkey. So he tried with both hands like a weightlifter pulling, but he was even unable to move the tail even by an inch. So then he understood this monkey is not an ordinary monkey. Who is this monkey? Then he started remembering Hanuman. Hanuman who fought with Lord Ram and assisted Lord Ram in killing Ravan. Is that he, Hanuman? So when Hanumanji heard Bhima talking about Hanuman, Hanuman said, who is this Hanuman you're talking about? So then Bhima narrated the story of Rama and how my brother, the son of Vayu, he had helped my worshipful Lord Ram, in his fight against Ravan, the sinful demon Ravan. So when Hanuman heard this, finally he said, yes, I am that Hanuman. Thank you for reminding me about Lord Ram, my worshipful Lord. You have pleased me by reminding me of Lord Ram, so please ask me, how can I help you? I was just testing you, he said. So Bhima was overjoyed upon hearing that this monkey was actually Hanuman, his brother. He fell at his feet, begged forgiveness, and they had a nice, loving greeting and exchange. And after some time, Bhima had a request. He said, if you don't mind, please, please show me the form that the expanded form of Hanuman that you took while jumping the ocean across Lanka. So Hanuman said, look, that form is not so easy to look at. That was a different age, and now this is a different age. And are you sure you want to see that form? So Bhima insisted, yes, I want to see that form. So finally Hanuman agreed to show the form, and then he began expanding his size, and he became tall like a huge mountain. And Bhima was awestruck, spellbound upon seeing this huge form, and he offered his obeisances and respects. So Hanuman said, actually, I can expand even more, depending on the opponent. If the opponent is more powerful, I can expand even more. So single-handedly, I could have actually killed Ravan. But I thought, let the credit of killing Ravan go to my Lord Ram. If I kill Ravan and the entire Rakshasa dynasty, then the glory of Ram won't be enhanced. That's why I didn't kill Ravan. Otherwise, I could have easily crushed him and the whole city of Lanka. So in this way, they had a nice exchange. And finally, Hanuman said, how can I help you? I can do one thing, he said. I will be on Arjun's chariot, Arjun's flag. And when the war is going to happen between the Kauravas and the Pandavas, when you will shout loudly war cries, I will join your war cries. And combined, our two sounds will strike terror into the hearts of the Kauravas. So that's what happened during the final war, Kurukshetra war. Whenever Bhima would shout, that shout was so loud that the Kauravas would get afraid, and their hearts would get shattered simply by the sound of Bhima. And when that sound was combined with Hanumanji's roar, they would lose all hope and get discouraged. So half the battle was won. simply by the shout, without even killing them. And the remaining half was killed, achieved by Bhima killing them. So in this way, Bhima met Hanumanji, and Hanuman gave the directions to Bhima where to find the 1,000-petaled lotus flowers. So in this way, after going some distance, Bhima saw a nice clear lake, and there he found thousands of these flowers, 1,000-petal lotus flowers. And but he saw that the lake was guarded by guards. They were actually yakshas. Yakshas are the followers of Kuvera, and they were guarding the place. So when they saw this human being Bhima come there, so they warned Bhima, look, this is Kuvera's place, and you better not create any scene here, otherwise we will kill you. So Bhima said, who are these people to stop me from taking the flowers? And how can you say that this place does not belong to regular people? It may be Kuvera's special place, but that doesn't mean we cannot enjoy the property, enjoy the flowers. Lakes and rivers are public property. Anyone should be able to allowed to visit the place. So Bhima didn't care about the warning. So he immediately jumped into the waters and started picking up flowers. So then he saw these yakshas coming to attack him. So he took his gada and started smashing them on their heads and bodies. And this way he killed several hundreds of them. So the yakshas were surprised. A human being attacking and destroying us? So when they saw that he is too powerful, they immediately went to Kuvera and reported the event to Kuvera. So when Kuvera heard this, he smiled and he said, yeah, I understand. This is Bhima. He said, yeah, this is Bhima, son of Pandu, and I understand why he has come. So don't worry, let him take whatever he wants. So in this way, the yakshas didn't attempt to attack Bhima again. And Bhima also thought, how can these followers stop me from taking the flowers? I am going to offer these flowers to Draupadi, and Draupadi will definitely offer these flowers to Krishna first. And before enjoying anything, devotees offer things to Krishna, right? We offer our food, flowers, everything we offer it to Krishna first. And then we accept. So Draupadi, as a devotee of Krishna, is definitely going to offer it to Krishna in puja, and then she will offer it to Yudhishthira and others. So how can Kuvera's followers stop me? So in this way, Bhima collected all the flowers and he was about to come back, began his return journey. Back in Badrikashram, Yudhishthira started noticing some inauspicious signs. He saw violent storms and wild animals shrieking. And he was wondering what happened. This is a pious place. How can inauspicious things happen here? So he went to Draupadi and said, why is this happening like this here? Where is Bhima? I can't see Bhima here. So Draupadi said, yeah, Bhima. Actually, I have sent him to collect those flowers and he has gone there some time back. So when Yudhishthira heard this, he said, that could be the reason. Bhima is known for his rash behavior. I think he has created unnecessary disturbance somewhere high up in the regions. So he was wondering what to do. So he took Ghatotkacha again and went upwards. And there he saw Bhima collecting all these flowers. And then he saw all the dead warriors of Kuvera. So then he understood. Then he chastised Bhima. He said, why did you do this, my dear brother? Why do you want to unnecessarily create disturbance here? Don't you know these are the places of the celestial demigods and they are very powerful? If you disturb them, we are already in a delicate situation, difficult situation. Why do you want to invite more difficulties in our life? by disturbing these demigods. So in this way, Yudhishthir admonished Bhima, and Bhima didn't say anything. And finally, they came back to Badrikashram. So in this way, they continued to stay in the heavenly region. So now it's 12 o'clock. We have a Kahoot quiz today. Gopal Lila Prabhu, are you there? Is Gopal Lila Prabhu there on? Yeah, Gopal Lila Prabhu is here. Okay, before Gopal Lila Prabhu takes over, I want to make an announcement. So on the 20th of June, 20th of June is Sunday, and 21st of June is International Yoga Day. So on 20th of June, we have a very nice seminar by one of our devotees, Dr. Vivek Bindra. Many of you may know Vivek Bindra Prabhu. He is a devotee from New Delhi, disciple of Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He is a motivational speaker and youth preacher, very powerful youth preacher. He speaks on business based on the Bhagavad Gita and Prabhupada's teachings. He conducts a lot of seminars, corporate seminars and all. So he is going to hold an event on 20th of June. And our United Nations Environmental Wing, they have collaborated with us. And we are trying to create a Guinness Book of World Records by inviting maximum number of youth to attend this program. So if we hit about 5 lakhs of youth, if 5 lakh or more youth attend this session, then that will be a Guinness Book of World Records for the largest number of youth participation in any event. So already we have crossed 1 lakh registrations. We would like to increase the registration up to several lakhs, as many lakhs as possible. So I want to request all of you, children also, above 6 years of age, that you should all register for this event. And if possible, attend this seminar. You may also register for the UN program, environmental program, which is a certified thing. After you conduct the participate in that course, you can get a certificate from the United Nations directly. Our Govardhan Eco Village is in collaboration with UN Environmental Wing, and our GV is also certified for certified by UN for eco-friendly lifestyle. So this is a very nice event where we can promote Krishna conscious principles to as many people as possible. The teachings of the Bhagavad Gita to many thousands of youth. Okay, my voice is breaking. Okay,
no,
so I want to
quite
share.
clear, quite clear. No worries.
Okay, so I share one link, and I request all of you to register there. Let me share the link 1 second. Gopal Lila Prabhu, please get ready by that time. Yes, it is free, no registration. So this is the link. Look at this link, iskonchowpatty.com.ios events. Please go to this link. I'll share the link also on the WhatsApp group. And once you go here, you need to register here for the webinar. Okay. So please register and please increase the number of registrations so that we can hit the Guinness Book of Records and allow everyone to participate in this free webinar. And Vivek Bindra Prabhu, some of you may be already knowing him, attended his sessions, saw his videos. Very inspirational, motivational speaker, youth preacher. And we want to spread this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita to all the youth of India. Okay, so thank you so much for your kind attention. Gopal Lila Prabhu, are you there?
Prabhuji, questions we finished, is it?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We'll take a few questions.
Sure. Any kids have questions? Please raise your hand.
Yes, I have sent the link in the group. Please invite your friends also, as many as possible. Any questions anyone wants to ask? Okay, it seems there are no questions. So where is Gopal Lila Prabhu? Nothing you do. You know him? Where he is? Or is he?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, I'm just. Yeah,
I'm there.
yeah. I just called him, Prabhuji. Okay. So, Prabhuji, a quick question regarding this Vivek Bindra webinar. So, the kids have to go onto the site, register their names, and will there be a thing for age? Because it says youth. So, is there something where they have to put their age, or they can just write their names and
It is age, right?
number?
10 to 15 years. They can select 10 to 15. I
They
think
can
many of
select.
them fall in this category.
Right. Okay, fine. That's what I was wondering. So 10 to 15, there is a category for that, right?
Yeah.
Fine. Thank you. They're all waiting for Kahoot now. Gopalda Prabhu. Yeah, just give us 5 minutes. Gopal Chandra, Riyansh. Prabhuji is just setting it up. Till that, you all can ask any questions if you all want.
I'm ready.
You're ready? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then we can start. Yeah, we can start.
Yeah. And just in terms of yesterday, I attended that meeting of this plastic thing, which Prabhuji was mentioning, UN, United Nations. So it is from 11 to 35, 11 years to 35 years. So 11 years, most probably anyone who is above fifth standard can definitely go ahead and do that registration.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for the information.
So probably, we can organize like 30 minutes. I'm going to do this in different schools, speaking to different principals and setting up some Zoom where I'm going to explain about for 15 minutes what this topic is all about, and 15 minutes doing that registration on the Zoom itself, guiding them like this is how we need to do it, because there are a couple of reasons why we are doing it. One is the goodwill for ISKCON, and second is one may say that why we are going into this thing, but one is goodwill, second is we can get a good database. Here at least we have the children contacts, but for others in a outside school where we
Yeah,
can get.
brilliant.
Correct.
Yeah, Prabhuji, also
So
now a
that is what
festival
we
of
are
grace
planning to do
groups.
it. Yeah, we are
Yeah.
planning to do that on ISKCON Chowpatty only, so that we can get those database. Yeah.
Okay. Prabhuji,
Yeah, sorry.
is there one more poster, Prabhuji? I think you have something more than the link also, right? If you could just share that also on the group, Prabhuji. So the
Is it
kids
for
can
me or
even share to
Mukundmal?
their friends.
Yeah,
Mukundmala,
I
Prabhuji?
shared this.
Yeah, so that children, if you all can even send it to your school friends and to your family and friends and relatives and make it viral, that'll be nice. Yeah. Thank you.
Why we are not sharing the poster is because many of the posters contains the central website link. So if they register there, then it's difficult to get the names. So therefore, we created a sub link on the Chowpatty website. That becomes easier to get the data from there. But let me see. Some posters should be there.
Okay.
Where the link is not
Okay,
available.
Prabhuji.
The link is there, then they get confused.
General poster. Yeah. Sure. Right.
Because I
Sure.
am
I
not
think even I
sure
have it somewhere.
just by sharing this would be they would understand, because it is like bit confusing where we are talking about United Nations, but we are going on ISKCON Chowpatty website. So it is more
Yeah.
of we have to guide them. That is what we have got. Yesterday we had like 1.5 hour of meeting from uh, Sudhir Chaitanya. No, there's Ravindra Chaitanya Prabhu from Pune, who is driving this effort of doing this entire United Nation
Jai.
registration in
Jai.
Pune, NVCC. And so he was giving our GCL Mumbai devotees heads up how it needs to be uh, done. So probably that we can do it offline, and then probably we can see to it that we can have some session exclusively for this,
Sure.
getting them understand what this is all about and doing their registration, so that
Wonderful.
we can do a good numbers from for
Yes.
at
Yeah.
least the festivals of grace
Yeah, Prabhuji. The
students. Yeah,
children are getting excited now. Let's
yeah,
start.
yeah. Let's start. Yeah,
Thank you. Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
I am not able to share the screen. Am I co-host or host? Okay, sorry. I'm able to do it. Let me know once you're able to see. Is it visible? Can you show me a thumb?
Yes, Prabhuji. We
Okay,
can
thank you.
start. Yeah.
Taking a bit time to load the game pin. Okay, the pin is 6537065. I'll repeat again, 6537065.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama,
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 Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna,
Jai Ho!
Rama, Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare,
I see there are only 13 participants,
Rama,
whereas 26 are there in Zoom. So quickly, 2 more minutes, we'll wait and then we'll start.
Rama, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Last 1 minute.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare
30 seconds more.
Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna.
All right, let's start. Quiz number 6. The first question on your screen. What was the vow that Yudhishthira took to avoid a possible war? I'll perform tapasya for next 13 years. I'll always follow my elders' commands. I will perform charity to brahmanas. I will go to on pilgrimage. Okay, 7 of you have answered correctly. Quickly, if you can share when this was mentioned. When this was mentioned, what was the vow Yudhishthira took to avoid possible war? Any idea? Okay. Srirang. Yes, Srirang, go ahead.
Prabhuji, Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Prabhuji, when Vyasdev predicted that there will be a war in future, then Yudhishthir Maharaj, like he thought that whenever one does not obey the orders of elders, then only the war happens. So he took a vow of obeying the elders.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Let's move to the next one. Srirang, please mute yourself. All right. I see Srirang on the top, followed by Subhadra, Riyansh, Bimla, and Krishangi. Second question, Yudhishthir agreed to play the dice game because it was ordered by Dhritarashtra. He enjoyed playing the game. He was confident of winning the game. He thought it was a friendly game. Pretty straightforward. Yes, it was ordered by Dhritarashtra. All right. Subhadra coming on top, followed by Chaitanya, Bimla, Riyansh, and Naman. What was the Daumya's advice to Yudhishthir for providing charity to the dependents? Wait till the exile period gets over, fight a war now and win wealth, worship Kuvera, the treasure of the demigods, worship Surya and get his blessings. Okay, most of you answered correctly. Bimla on the top, followed by Riyansh, Naman, Chaitanya, and Krishangi. Fourth question, what was the curse uttered by Maitreya to Duryodhan? Bhima will smash Duryodhana's thighs in the war. Kauravas will lose all their wealth. All Kauravas will lose their wives. The Kauravas will become slaves of the Pandavas. Again, pretty straightforward question. Okay, let's move. Fifth question. Which demon was killed by Bhima after leaving Hastinapur? Kirmira, Hidimba, Bakasur, Ashwasen. Okay. The correct answer is Kirmira. Naman, Subhadra, Krishangi, Riyansh, and Bimla. Sixth question. What were Yudhishthir's thoughts on anger? Anger is a virtue and one must exercise it wherever possible. Anger is the ornament of the heroic people. Anger has a great utility value to deal with enemies. Only fools praise anger, considering it equivalent to energy. Okay. Yes, most of you got it right. Okay. What are the two qualities of the self-controlled? Forgiveness, humility, confidence and straightforwardness, charity and austerity, discipline and dedication. Okay, moving to the next one. Eighth question. By chanting which mantras Arjuna was able to travel at great speed? Hare Krishna mantra, Gayatri mantra, pratismriti mantras, bija mantras. Okay, pratismriti mantra, Naman on the top, followed by Bimla, Chaitanya, Subhadra, and Riyansh. Last question. No, I think second last. What was the effect of the penance performed by Arjuna? The whole earth got heated up. There was a rainfall all over the planet. The universe got choked up. The temperature dropped all over the world. Okay. The whole earth got heated up. Last question. Out of the given options, which was the gift that Arjuna did not receive? Yamraj mace, Varuna's Nagapash, whereas Antardhan weapon, Agni's Chakra. Okay, most of you have got it correct. It is Agni's Chakra. Let's see the podium. Number 3, Srirang. Congratulations. Krishangi. On the top, Naman. Congratulations to all of you. Followed by Subhadra and Chaitanya. Congratulations to all of you. Great. Let's move. And thank you everyone for joining the session. Any last minute comments, Mukund Malapro?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Nice participation by everyone.
Thank you. And in terms of the United Nations, we will get back to you how we can go ahead and do the registrations. All right. Thank you. Any last comments, Radhika Kishori Mataji? Are you there by any chance? Okay, I don't think so. She's there. All right. Thank you. Mukund Malapro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hare-
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.